The Ash, Lutzi and Nikki Osborne podcast.
We go to the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Australian commentator. I mean, for me, it's track and field, it's horse racing, it's AFL, but mostly track and field for me. The great Bruce McAvaney joining us early on a Thursday morning. How are you, Bruce?
I'm very well, Lutzi. I really am. And it's a good time for sport in Australia. There's so much happening, isn't there, at the moment?
Oh, I tell you what, I was lucky. I was lucky enough to be out there to see Gout Gout do that sub-20 run in the 200 metres the other day out at Cusack, and then got to spend some time with Timmy Sheridan and Bruce McAvaney having a bit of lunch and just listening and absorbing the passion of sport that you bring, Bruce. And I guess that's been synonymous, as although you're obviously a great commentator, I think the thing that sets you apart from most in the business is your ability to convey the passion and the emotion of sport. And I got that feeling again just on Sunday when we sat out there, and that being part of the journey of sport and the power that can bring, mate. So
yeah, Bruce,
thanks for that.
Are you quite moved by what you're witnessing at the moment? Because that's what Lutzi was saying, that you were really quite moved by what's happening with Gout Gout.
Absolutely, Nikki. I mean, it was an incredible being there. It felt like an Olympic final when it was at under 20 at the Queensland Championships. That just the hush before, and the nervousness surrounding what might have been a false start by somebody or other, and then just the joy afterwards. So, look, it was just thrilling being there. He's got something rare. We know that. I mean, and not just the times that he's running, but the persona as well. So, he's a young man who I think is going to, absolutely have the affection of a nation, a bit like Kathy did, I guess, in 2000, and others that we've had over the years, but very few. So, Nikki, I'm really authentically thrilled that, we're seeing something that we didn't think was possible, I think.
This Spotlight special, Gout Gout, it's on this Sunday after Australian Idol on 7 and 7+. I think that most of Australia now, I feel like, is becoming aware of Gout Gout, who he is, but what are we going to learn about him on Sunday night? What is the Gout Gout story?
So, Ash, how do you go about trying to tell such a complex story in an hour? So, with such, I guess, an interesting background. So, we've interviewed Kathy Freeman because there's some similarities about pressure and expectation, and she won a gold medal as a 16-year-old. Matt Shervington's been heavily involved. He broke the Australian record for 100 metres when he was 19 years of age. And Raylene Boyle won an Olympic medal, a silver medal, in Gout's event when she was 17, the same age as him. So she went to the Olympics at 17. So we've spoken to those three people at length, and the coach and the manager and Gout obviously himself went out to the school. So there's been a lot of work done. It's been an absolute joy to be involved. So I hope at the end of the program people feel like they know the young man, they know about the expectation, the possibilities, and the dream. And so it's all of those things.
Also, Bruce, I'm quite excited that his coach, Di Shepherd, is a woman. This is something I'm very fascinated about as well. Do you cover that?
And absolutely, Nikki, and she's a strong woman, and so just a little bit about her, and I'm sure, Lutz, you know a fair bit about her, but she's become a bit of a legend. So, look, she wanted to coach athletics at Ipswich Grammar, but the rule was you could not coach unless you were on the staff. So she went and worked in the canteen. So that's how she got to be a coach. She did the hard yards.
She was packing pies and making sangers so that she could create a great... That's such a good story. I love this.
And Di's, she looks you straight in the eye and she tells you exactly what she's thinking.
There's no filter.
I've got to say, I feel like just giving her a big hug every time I see her because she's a bit like my mum. Anyway, and she's 10 years younger than me. So there you go.
Not sure she'd like that, Bruce. But anyway.
Well, that's why, Nikki, I'll put the stat in at the end.
What type of kid is he? And you've met him as well, Lutzi. He's got a lot on his plate, and there's expectation that's coming with all of this spotlight, no doubt, as well. But is he a humble type of kid? Is he taking it all in his stride? What were your impressions?
Well, let's see. I'll go first if you like.
Yep.
He's remarkable in that he's so poised. Look, he's on one hand he's a young boy at school. When I say boy, a man. He's 17 first time I actually shook his hand, he had his school blazer on, and that really, you look at him and you think, God, you're young. And then when you talk to him, and there's a lot of young stuff about him, but he's poised. He's very well-mannered and highly motivated. So I reckon if I had to sum him up in a sentence, that he is a gentleman, he's driven, he's respectful, and he's got a confidence that champions need. So Lutz, that's how I see him.
Yeah, Bruce, I was hit by on the same lines, that the respect that he has, and I think this will come out in the documentary from what I've heard from you and from Tim Sheridan from Shervo about it, the respect he has around the school and he's, I guess for want of a better word, his key stakeholders at the moment, which are his mates and his school and his coach, and that's that inner sanctum around him. And I guess the trick, for want of a better word again, Bruce, is how we measure that kind of like cool our heels approach to a 17-year-old, but also, and I said this to you on Sunday, also actually acknowledge the fact that while 3 years ago we were probably all sitting here going, well, no one's ever going to touch Usain Bolt's world records in our lifetimes, to now have a kid from Ipswich whose trajectory, it isn't inconceivable, could potentially push into those areas. So measuring what we just said about a school kid from Ipswich to a potential world beater is, I guess, the interesting thing to try and attain over the next 12 to 18 months.
Because he's a kid, but he's not, because he's a superstar, and it's hard to know how much media pressure to put on him, because we're all excited, but then we don't want to put our mockers on him. We don't want to freak him out. So,
and I think we do this. Nikki, I think we try. We talk about this during the documentary and get things into perspective. There are no givens in sport. There's no givens in life. Nobody knows where this journey will end. What we do know is that he never runs another race. He's the fastest Australian ever over 200 metres. And he did it when he was 16. Wow. So whatever happens for the rest of his athletic life, he's created something that is very rare. Now, how much can he improve between now and the Brisbane Olympics or now and the Los Angeles Olympics? None of us know. It's going to come down to a fair bit of luck, not injury. I think the other challenge for him, he's going to grow up, he's going to have relationships, he's going to have distractions. Things get more complicated, from 17 through to 24. So how he handles that, nobody knows. But he's got good people, that his family are wonderful, he's got good people around him, and his attitude is incredible. So fingers crossed. But, Bolt ran the fastest time of his life at 22 and never ran faster again at 22 years of age. So none of us know what Carl Lewis was at 30 years of age. So there's no givens in this sort of event. And look, the 100 metres and the 200 metres, it's the championship of the world. We've only had 4 Australian men that have actually made a final of a 100 or 200 at the Olympics. Yeah. And the last time that happened was in 1968. Jeez. So this is territory that no Australian male has been to for over 50 years.
Rare.
And that's the potential. That's the potential.
Yeah, Bruce, I talk about being part of the athlete's journey, and this is for kids in particular. This Sunday, it might be your first chance to actually get an insight into this wonderful athlete. So it's the 7 News Spotlight special event, Gout Gout. It's on this Sunday after Australian Idol on 7 and 7+. And I might add, if you haven't had the chance to see him race yet, there'll be a chance the week after, Bruce, live on Channel 7 to watch the Maury Plant meet in Melbourne, where Gout, all things going well over the next week, will run the 200 metres there. So you've got 2 opportunities there, and great to see the 7 Network bring that to people, because it's time to join the journey of one of our great athletes heading towards 2032, mate.
Yeah, well said, Lutz. All the best, guys. Terrific to chat to you.
The Ash, Lutzy and Nikki Osborne podcast.